guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a makeup starter kit. Now, I have done quite a few makeup starter kits before, but today's is going to be a teeny little bit different. Will not be picking up products and showing you them. I'm going to just tell you guys what sort of makeup items you should get for starting. It's going to be a bit different, I know, but I didn't want to tell you guys you should buy this, because not many people, not everything I recommend will suit your skin type, your skin color, all that. So this is going to be a makeup starter kit guide for everyone, whether you are in high school, whether you're my age and in your 20s, or even if you're older than me and you're in your 30s or 50s or something like older. I am going to start off by telling you guys what makeup items you should buy or pick up, and then I'll move on to tools. So no matter what age you are, what type of skin you have, you should always wear primer before you put your makeup on. I recommend trying a primer that suits your skin type. If you're oily, get an oil-free primer. If you're dry, get a moisturizing, hydrating primer. If you've got large pores, get a pore filling primer. I'm not super into those, but if you want a light coverage foundation but you have redness, even if you have redness, get a color correcting primer. I have pore filling, hydrating, oil-free. I have all the primers that I mentioned. I can't remember all of them. I have a hydrating primer for when I feel a bit dry or when I just sort of want that little bit more moisture. I have a color correcting primer for when I am a bit red and don't really want like a heavy coverage foundation like this one. Yeah, I have a pore filling primer to fill in my pores that are around here. And I have oil-free primers for like my everyday use. I have combination oily skin. I don't have that much redness, but my mum she's semi-oily, semi-normal. Her skin's really weird, but she has a lot of pigmentation and redness. So I recommended for her to get a color correcting primer. I think I gave her one of mine to try and she loved it, so she's been buying that one ever since. I only really use color correcting primers when I want my face to look put together but I don't really want to wear makeup. Yeah, if you have dry skin, I recommend a hydrating primer. If you have oily skin, an oil-free primer. And if you have big pores on your face, which they can look like little craters, it's really cute, and also kind of not, I recommend a pore filling primer. Now, primers always set the tone for your makeup. Some primers don't mesh with some foundations, so you have to be really careful about that. But a foundation is always suited for you. If you are in high school, a BB cream or like a light coverage foundation is great. If you're in your tweens and like teen years, light coverage is good. Also, like full coverage, light to full coverage is quite good for that sort of age group, because if you have a lot of pigmentation or issues with your skin, you can feel really self-conscious. So getting a full coverage, lightweight foundation is good for you. For me, I like a full coverage foundation, but not everyone does. So you sort of have to choose what you like. My mum, she likes a powder foundation, even though powder foundation that she's got doesn't suit her at the moment. She goes for like a BB cream. She also has like a full coverage foundation, but she barely uses it. Next thing is powder. You don't need a powder. If you're oily, I recommend a transparent powder. Pressed powders like this are really good. This one's coloured. I would only have coloured if you want to touch up throughout the day, or if you like rub your nose, you just grab the little thing that's underneath. But if you want to set your foundation while you're to like make sure it doesn't go anywhere, then a transparent powder works. So that's basically a powder with no colour, but is still pressed. That's what I recommend. You don't have to, but see, with a transparent powder, you can also set underneath your eyes with the concealer. Concealer is something I did not say. I love concealer, but not many people use it. I always think getting a full coverage concealer is really good for someone of my age and my lack of sleeping, because I have quite dark circles underneath my eyes, so I always conceal. Always, because concealer is sometimes, it works better than foundation in that area. Don't ask me why, no idea. I recommend a liquid concealer, not one that's in a pot, unless you want to cover like blemishes. Really, you don't need a concealer to cover blemishes if you have a full coverage foundation. Concealer, it's not for everyone, but if you want to just conceal underneath your eyes and that's it, then concealer is the way to go, because you can get like a light coverage concealer, or you can sheer out your heavy coverage or medium coverage concealer. But yeah, always set concealer no matter what, because your mascara will transfer because it's wet. So yeah, bronzer, blush and highlight. Choose something that suits your skin color and skin tone. So I'm neutral skin, I have a neutral skin tone, so I can pretty much wear any blush and it goes great. Some people are very olive, so very pink blushes will clash, I think that's right anyway. But makeup is all about trial and error. And so if you're trying to find a colour of blush that suits you, go for the cheapest ones, try those colours. If you like a colour, then buy the more expensive ones. But like, I always like to go for mauves, like Max and Melba. That's a good tone for everyone. Even Max Warm Soul, still blush, but it's not really got much pigment. Also NARS Madly, it's a good one too. Bronzer, never go too dark or too heavy-handed with it. Bronzer, you just sort of want that shadow, if you can see that. You don't want it to be too dark or anything like that. So yeah, try things out on your hand, and then if they look perfect for your hand, most likely you need to go down a shade. That's what I sort of go with. But also you can always ask someone in store. Highlighters, I like a blinding highlight, but I go for champagne highlights over gold or pink highlights. That's just me. Some people like a more golden highlight, and that's more of those people with olive undertones. And then some people like a pink highlight, and they're probably people that have got more of a pinky undertone. People do switch it up, but that's sort of what you stay to. Brow products always match to your hairline, like your regrowth, that's what it's called. For me, when I have blonde hair, I like to go for a lighter brown. If you're just starting out with brows, try a brow pencil over a brow pomade. I love brow pomades. I actually stopped using them for a while and only just started using them today, and I love it. Because I had one that was way too dark for me for my new hair. Couldn't use it. But I recently bought a lighter colour and I love it. For eyes, do what suits your eye shape. Finding your eye shape can be really hard. I'm pretty sure I have big, oval, downturned eyes. But I could be completely wrong that that's what my eyes are. Big, downturned eyes. Can't remember what the other word was I said. That's what I think. If you have downturned eyes, wearing a wing eyeliner is great for those. For me, I can't pull it off, so I might not have downturned eyes. It's just sort of what this makeup is making my eyes look like they are, but it might be different when you don't have makeup on. There are like multiple different things on the internet that you can see what your eye shape is, but just trial and error, really. I always recommend going for brown eyeshadows first, browny goldy shades, because they pretty much suit everyone. And then if you want to add like different colours and like burgundies and such, try ones that suit your eyes. But really, any person can wear any colour eyeshadow, no matter their eye colour or eye shape. If you wear eyeliner, you have to do your eyeliner to suit your eyes. So if you have upturned eyes, their eyeliner goes out a little bit straighter so they don't look so upturned. It's all about trial and error. You just buy your neutral colours and then grow from there. Mascara is mascara. Don't get waterproof unless you have really watery eyes. That's just that. Lipsticks, I recommend starting off with lipsticks and lip liners. Choose a lip liner that is like close to your lip shade, and then you can wear that lip liner with any lipstick. It's really good. But yeah, that is all of my tips with makeup items. Makeup brushes now. All you really need is a beauty blender to apply or like a beauty blender dupe, like one of those Real Technique sponges. That applies your foundation and your concealer. Then you just have a powder brush if you need to set your face, a under eye setting powder to set underneath your eyes. Don't set your under eyes with a beauty blender because it's so not worth it. Then you need a contour, blush and highlight brushes. Get 3 of those, get different brushes for each one, because that's just what I recommend, because you don't want to put your bronzer into your blush. It becomes a shit show and the colour ends up being shit. Different brushes. Some people like domed blush brushes. Some people like angled blush brushes. Some people like flat contour brushes. Some people like the angled brush that I said for the blush. They like that for their contour / bronzer. Some people like a big fluffy bronzer brush or like a flat contour brush. Some people like a fan brush for their highlighter. Some people like a pointed one. Just sort of depends on what you want, what you think will suit you. Always, it's just all trial and error. That's really all I can say. Makeup is a whole heap of trial and error. And if you don't like something, then you just try that. If it's like a brush, you try using that brush for something else. If you don't like it for that either, chuck it. That's why you start with like a cheap brush, or you have it as a backup. It's all about trial and error. You can always make brushes work for you. You don't make the brushes work for you, not the other way around. So that's a good thing. For eyes, these are dirty, but I always recommend these sort of brushes. You've got a flat shader brush, dense tapered blending brush, and a large fluffy blending brush. These are basically the only three you really need, plus a highlighting brush. And that's all you need. Oh, and a pencil brush. So like I was saying, like makeup's all about trial and error, so go for the cheaper options. I recommend going to your drugstore, Priceline, Target, getting something cheap. Makeup here in Australia is not completely cheap, but it's not super expensive at the drugstore. Some of them. You can find cheaper versions at the drugstore. Like Rimmel's quite cheap, Revlon, Maybelline, they're quite expensive. Your NYX can be kind of in between. I can't think of any others. Oh, Essence is super cheap. Super cheap. And it's actually not bad quality. Elf is terrible quality. Don't ever use it. Some things in it is good, or are good, but not all the time. Makeup's all about trial and error, so go for the cheaper versions first. And then you can go for the more expensive drugstore ones. And then once you've got your makeup suited and what suits you, then you can go for the more expensive stuff. It's what I recommend for anyone of any age. If you're in your 40s, 50s or 60s, don't use a blinding highlighter. Go for something more subtle like MAC's Lightscapade. Still a highlighter, but not too glittery, and it won't cling to spots. And also the same with your eyeshadows. Don't go for something more super glittery for your eyeshadows. Go for something in between matte and glitter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel because it means so much to me when you guys do. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks guys. Bye.